Kyle Larson has finished first or second in 7 straight NASCAR Cup Series events, so this weekend, NASCAR admitted that they are watching Hendrick Motorsports more closely. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric and welcome to Out of the Groove. As you can see, I am still on the go. We're no longer in Nashville. I have made my way across state lines through the Smoky Mountains into Charlotte, North Carolina. That's right, the home of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, which I'll be visiting later this week, and I'll be taking y'all along with me. Also the home of pretty much all of the race teams. They're scattered all around the Charlotte, North Carolina area. I'll be checking some of those out this week as well. You know, I'd already driven all the way to Tennessee, so I figured I might as well just hop one more state over and come over to Charlotte, the home of NASCAR more or less, and check it out. I've only been to Charlotte one other time in my life, and it was about 2 years ago, so I figured I'd see what has changed. So plenty more content coming your way later this week, but for now, the show must go on. This Out of the Groove episode is sponsored by Wenzel's Farm. Wenzel's Farm is a premium provider of high-quality small batch meat snacks and products. Real meat for real life, no fillers, no corn syrup, no artificial colors or flavors. They've got over 13 different varieties of snack sticks. They also have a premium line of beef jerky products, which I took with me on the road, as a matter of fact. The perfect road trip snack. I love their original beef jerky. And just like their other products, there are no artificial flavors, no fillers. In fact, these are gluten-free. Absolutely delicious. Shift your taste buds into high gear with the winning flavors of Wenzel's Farm, protein packed snack sticks, and jerky. Wenzel's is the perfect pit stop snack to keep you fueled all the way across the finish line, and they have a special promo code for fans of Out of the Groove. You can use code FUEL for 10% off your order at wenzelsfarm.com. Check that out down in the description. Use code FUEL for 10% off. Gotta keep this thing nice and sealed because I've got more road tripping ahead of me even after I leave Charlotte. But thank you to Wenzel's Farm for supporting Out of the Groove and keeping me fueled as I cross state lines. I'm still trying to unpack everything I witnessed at Nashville Superspeedway this weekend. Tomorrow I'll have my at-track experience vlog posted. I can't wait to share that with you. A whole new perspective of a NASCAR Cup Series weekend, but a lot happened this weekend. Kyle Larson won yet again. It was a brand new venue for the NASCAR Cup Series, a new market that hasn't been explored by NASCAR in a decade. There's a lot going on, but we're going to focus on Hendrick Motorsports and their dominance. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing about Hendrick Motorsports. Yes, I'm wearing this Chase Elliott t-shirt. So I know you're probably feeling bombarded by Hendrick Motorsports content everywhere you look, but I want to talk today about something NASCAR VP of Competition Scott Miller said yesterday. All of Hendrick Motorsports has been dominant the last couple of months, but Kyle Larson especially has not finished worse than second in 7 straight weeks. He has 4 straight wins. We have not seen a roll like this in years. I mean, this is late 2000s Jimmy Johnson, late 90s Jeff Gordon era dominance. You'll notice all these things share, Hendrick Motorsports in common. But Hendrick Motorsports clearly has something that the other teams don't have. We've talked on this show in recent weeks about rumors that Hendrick Motorsports and Chevrolet are maybe finding a little extra horsepower within the rulebook, in theory at least. But is that true? Nobody knows for sure. But NASCAR VP of Competition Scott Miller did confirm this week that NASCAR is watching Hendrick Motorsports a little more closely than they maybe were previously. He was asked on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio if the inspection process becomes any more rigorous for a team on such a roll, and Miller said, yes, it does, both externally and internally. We certainly want to make sure we're not missing something in our process, so not that we don't look hard at every single car that comes through there, but when you start to have a dominant team, definitely the lens gets focused a little bit more on the microscope. You think back to a year ago, or even 2 years ago. I mean, we had a run there where nobody could come close to JGR, and they finished with all the cars in the top 5 many, many times. Same kind of thing, right? I don't know what it is in racing, but it seems to go in cycles with these teams. But really, to answer your question, yes, we certainly look hard at all the cars, but when you start to have a team being very dominant, certainly it's just natural to make sure that you're not missing anything there. So he dances around the question a bit, but he does confirm that yes, they are looking harder at Hendrick Motorsports. And we saw just a couple days ago, Chase Elliott actually got disqualified in post-race for having 5 loose lug nuts on the car. Gee whiz. I mean, that's not really part of the inspection process. That's a pretty black and white rule. Either they're tight or they're not. So I don't think they're picking on Hendrick Motorsports there. I think it was probably the right call, but still, the timing is just kind of interesting. You know, he mentions that Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing have had some pretty dominant runs in recent years, but I can't think of a single driver, like a single car, not just necessarily necessarily a whole team, because they're right, JGR had, I mean, there was a few years there where every year we had a couple JGR cars in the championship four. 2019, 3 JGR cars in the championship four. JGR has had some great moments in the past. Hendrick Motorsports has had some great moments. Penske, like Logano, Keselowski, they've had strong runs. But like I said, I can't think of a time in the last decade or so where a single driver has been this consistently good across such a wide variety of tracks all in a row, one after the other. We've talked about this on this show at great length already, but Kyle Larson really doesn't seem to have any weaknesses aside maybe from super speedways, where, you know, the equalizer that is super speedway racing goes against Larson in that case. But he's won at Sonoma, a road course. He's won at Nashville, a concrete sort of intermediate track. He's won at mile and a half. His teammate Alex Bowman has won at Richmond, a short track. He's also won at Dover, a mile long track. He kind of stole that Dover win away from Larson, who seemed to have maybe the best car at the end of that race. And keep in mind, Kyle Larson probably should have won at Circuit of the Americas. If that race goes green to the end, he likely beats Chase Elliott and wins that one. So Kyle Larson, they mentioned this in the media center this week at Nashville, he's been this close to winning another 4 or 5 races this year. He has 4 wins on his resume this year, but that could easily be 8 or 9, barring a couple of just sort of wacky circumstances. Remember Atlanta, he lost that race late to Ryan Blaney. That could have gone his way. Kyle Larson, Cliff Daniels, and that whole 5 team are scary good right now. Again, we have not seen a single team, a single driver crew chief combo be this dominant, this consistently since Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus, or since Jeff Gordon in the late 90s. I mean, I guess Tony Stewart won 5 out of 10 races in the Chase in 2011, but even that was still a decade ago, so it's been a long time since we saw something like this. It makes sense that NASCAR would want to take a closer look. Will we see Hendrick's performance start to dip even as soon as this coming weekend? They're going to Pocono for a double header, as a matter of fact, no practice or qualifying, so it's going to be, you know, unload off the truck, see what you got, run what you got. Will we begin to see more Hendrick cars failing inspection? We've seen drivers like Chase Elliott. I think Chase Elliott has had to start at the rear 4 or 5 times this year, largely due to many inspection failures. Haven't seen that so much with Kyle Larson. We haven't seen that as much with some of the other Hendrick cars, but will NASCAR begin to look harder at Hendrick? Will NASCAR find something that Hendrick is doing that maybe skirts the rule book a little bit? You know, Chad Knaus is the senior VP of competition over at Hendrick Motorsports this year, and he's always been known to push the envelope. Could NASCAR kind of subtly behind the scenes off the books perhaps implement a small rule change? We've seen how the slightest change in the inspection process can completely derail a race team's success. Stewart-Haas Racing last year, with Kevin Harvick especially, looked unbeatable at portions of the year. Kevin Harvick won 9 races last year. SHR as a team has 0 wins halfway through the 2021 season, and all that changed, according to Rodney Childers at least, is how NASCAR was inspecting like the rear wheel wells, I believe. I don't remember the exact specifics of that, but there was a slight change that NASCAR made from last year to this year and how they inspected that, what the rules said, and that, at least according to Rodney Childers, has really harmed the SHR cars, he believes. So it doesn't take much to derail a team's success, but it's worth noting because, again, we've not seen a single driver have this kind of success so consistently across a variety of racetracks in a long time. You know, that's not to take away from Kyle Larson. We know he's a tremendous driver. He definitely has really good race cars right now, the best cars he's ever driven in the Cup Series, but he's also a tremendous racing talent. We all know that. That kind of goes without saying. So maybe this is all inevitable. I mean, I remember when Kyle Larson first came up through the NASCAR ranks, he was often being compared to Jeff Gordon. He had that kind of hype behind him. And then he went to Chip Ganassi Racing, and it took a few years to finally win, but he did get the most, I think, out of those Ganassi cars more often than not. He won 4 times back in 2017. But now that he's with a true championship caliber organization, we're really seeing the Jeff Gordon comparisons come to light. I mean, statistically speaking, Larson's run is Jeff Gordon-esque for sure. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. I know it's a long season, and we, like Scott Miller points out, we do see ebbs and flows even throughout single seasons. Certain manufacturers or teams get better or worse as the year goes on, but right now, Hendrick Motorsports and especially Kyle Larson, it's going to take something big to derail their current run of success. But I just wanted to mention that here at the top of the show. I have a couple of other stories I want to hit on really quick before I get out of here. Firstly, you might have heard the news earlier this weekend at Nashville, but Alvin Kamara has been hired by NASCAR as a growth and development officer. Alvin Kamara is an NFL running back. He plays for the New Orleans Saints. He's been around NASCAR in recent months in a pretty big way. His Juice company sponsored Ryan Vargas's Xfinity car a few months ago. He's really enveloped himself in the NASCAR world, especially the business side of NASCAR. It's pretty clear. So I thought it was interesting that NASCAR made it official and just straight up hired the guy to be a growth and development officer. His goal will obviously be to strategize how NASCAR can reach new audiences. That's something I'm always preaching. I think this is a good addition to the team. It's unclear exactly what his day-to-day job will be for sure, but we know it's going to involve him trying to reach new potential fans. I think that's a good thing. And, a relevant NFL player, I think, will naturally have an easy time reaching young fans. Another bit of news from this past week: Jordan Anderson, my boy, of course, new to the NASCAR Xfinity Series this year. We've seen Tyler Reddick wheel that car to some top 10 finishes already. Josh Berry raced at Mid-Ohio and got a top 10, finished 8th. Well, yesterday, Jordan Anderson announced that Josh Berry will return to the team for Pocono this weekend. That's right, Berry, who just ran his final race of the year for Junior Motorsports, he will return to the Xfinity Series and drive for Jordan Anderson Racing. Tyler Reddick finished 15th, I believe, at Nashville this past weekend in that 31 car. It's a Jordan Anderson Racing prepared car. They have a newer operation over there, but they do get their engines from Richard Childress Racing, so they've been fairly competitive most races they've entered this season. So cool for Josh Berry. Dale Earnhardt Jr. said during one of the NBC broadcasts this weekend, it might have been during just qualifying or practice, but I heard him mention that he's hoping that they can get Josh Berry in one of his Junior Motorsports cars full-time next year. But he did say if that doesn't work out, he's hoping Josh Berry lands a full-time ride with somebody else. I guess that kind of goes without saying. We know Josh Berry is Dale Jr.'s guy. That's his boy. And if funding was not an issue, Josh Berry would have gotten a full-time Xfinity gig a long time ago. Hopefully it works out. We've seen tire pros on his cars, and when he's been with Junior Motorsports in the past, hopefully he's able to land a greater opportunity next season. But all these extra opportunities with Jordan Anderson, with other teams potentially. He was in a 25 truck, I believe, at Nashville for the Truck Series race as well this weekend. He's getting all these other opportunities, more and more seat time, getting his name out there, getting his face in front of sponsors, potential sponsors. I hope Josh Berry lands a full-time gig next season. The Martinsville winner from a couple months ago was on this show as well. Great dude, great race car driver. Hoping this big break leads to a full NASCAR season next year. But that's all the news I wanted to talk about here early this week. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. We talk NASCAR day in, day out. And I'll be taking y'all on the road as we go visit the Hall of Fame. And tomorrow, like I said, you'll see my Nashville Super Speedway video. I really can't wait to share that with y'all. Also, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. As always, I couldn't do this show without your tremendous support. That is all I've got. I appreciate you guys watching. I will see you in the next video. Have a fantastic rest of your day.